Hello grade 8s, welcome back to WorksheetCloud. This is grade 8 English, and again, if you guys have a question during the lesson, write it down for me and then email us at grade8@worksheetcloud.com. I hope you're having a good start to your day. Hello again, I am Mrs. Goslet, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm teaching you guys some English. We've been doing parts of speech and we wrapped up on that. And today we're going to look at synonyms and antonyms. As always, if you would like to write something down, maybe like a definition or something new that you've learned, grab your notebook and pen or your piece of paper. And if you're well prepared, you've already got it ready. So well done. Like I said, today we're going to look at synonyms and antonyms. Now, I don't know if you all remember, but we actually did homophones and homonyms. So we're going to look at a really cool video about nyms. Just some interesting information. If we look at the word nym, it's actually a suffix, and so it's put onto a root word. And nym literally means name. And it is also derived from a Greek word. So that's just some food for thought. What is a synonym? Now, most of you have been tested on this, and they love to ask this in a test. They will give you the comprehension, and they'll look at a specific word, and they'll say, give a synonym for, and then you must go and look. So synonyms are words of the same or of similar meaning. Synonyms are often interchangeable, but the word choice depends on the context. Okay, so whenever you're looking at the context of the sentence, that will help you to decide which synonym you can use. Varied use of synonyms will greatly extend your language skills and also help you when you are in creative writing, because then you don't keep using the same word like happy. Can you think of a better word? Ecstatic. So here I've got, can you think of synonyms for happy? I gave ecstatic, joyful, excited, depending on the context. Then sad, depressed, somber, melancholic. So, let's have a look. A few synonyms with which to familiarize yourself. Okay, so instead of just using big, we could say colossal, enormous, immense, a mammoth task. That means it's a huge task. Massive, small, dainty, delicate, puny. Okay, you get the idea. Good, can look at positive, is quite a generic answer. So I would say try to stay away from just saying positive or negative. Good could be lovely, favorable, just depending on. Sad, we sort of spoke about. Somber, we spoke about melancholy. Could say depressed, happy. Here's some jovial, elated, right, apt. That's just appropriate, suitable. There's appropriate, sensible. Okay. We're going to watch the nym family. It is going to tell us a little bit more about homonyms as well. So that's quite nice because we can recap, because we've already done that lesson. Oh dear, I'm supposed to push play. Not next. Here we go. Right, let's watch.
Sometimes when words are all together, we can't recognize exactly what they are. So let's discover the nym family today. The first family members are the homonym twins. These are words that sound alike, similar to being in harmony, but they mean totally different things. For instance, we have the word bark. Bark is spelled one way, B-A-R-K, but it has two different meanings, such as a dog barking and tree bark. Another example is we have the word clothes and clothes. These are homonym twins, but they mean different things. This clothes is the items you wear, and this clothes would mean like close the door. Here we have horse and horse. With this horse, you go to the doctor because you have a sore throat, and this horse is the animal. They sound the same, but they mean different things. Let's meet the synonym cousins. They are almost the same, and they have similar meanings. For instance, the word explain could also be said as elaborate, define, clarify, interpret, justify, and account for. They're different words, but they have similar meanings. Same with the word work. It can mean labor, employment, job, effort, or exertion. But the antonym in-laws are very opposite of each other. They don't see eye to eye. For instance, give is opposite of take. Question is opposite of answer. And so forth down the list. Truth, lie. Big, small. Come, go. Kind, cruel. Dry, wet. Night, day. Opposite of each other. Can you identify this nym? Sail, sail. Deer, deer. Axe, axe. Blue, blue. Claws, claws. Higher, higher. Foul, foul. Grown, grown. Bread and bread. Which nym is this? Can you identify this nym? Asleep, awake, foolish, wise, rough, gentle, join, separate, cry, laugh, first, last, quiet, noisy, offer, refuse, solid, liquid. Which nym is this? Can you identify this nym? Leave, disappear, go away, depart, withdraw, vanish, sparkle, shine, glisten, flicker, twinkle, glow, prize, award, reward, trophy, accolade, and honor. Which nym is this? Now you'll be able to recognize the nyms anywhere. And if you still have trouble, you can always watch the video again.
Okay, so hopefully you are more familiar with the nym family and you understand what that means. Right, so they touched on antonyms. We've looked at synonyms, which are same meaning or similar in meaning. I haven't seen them asked too many times for you to change the word to an antonym. I've seen them ask it, or we ask it. We prefer the synonym. But that's not to mean that you mustn't know your antonyms, because you could always get asked to give the opposite meaning. So antonyms are words which are opposite in meaning. Antonyms can be formed by adding a prefix, pre is before. So they can be formed, yeah. So look at the example here, the prefix and suffix. Remember I was talking about pre is before, suffix is after. Useful, useless. Okay, so we've got two suffixes there. We're using it on the word use. So if you look at the word useful, your mom can count on you to always have your room cleaned. But then if you're useless, you're lying on the couch, your room's untidy. Bad example. Then let's look at the next one. Antonyms may take the form of a different word. So comedy, tragedy. They are opposites. They mean opposites. Okay. Right, you can grab that piece of paper for me. We're going to do an exercise. If you want to just do it verbally, then that's okay. I'm going to go through it and then you can pause it to write your answers down. So exercise 1, write the antonym for each underlined word in the sentence. Use the line provided. Okay, obviously you're just going to write it down. Eric wrote false for every question on the test. Okay, opposite of false is, well done, write it down. Number 2, Laura always disobeyed her mother. So we look at disobeyed. Think about the prefix and the suffix and changing it. So you're going to write it down for me. Number 3, Kevin was very careless with his belongings. If you change the suffix, you can get an opposite meaning there. Number 4, Kelly was acting childish at school. Okay, so think of an opposite word of childish. Number 5, Joseph's room was filthy. Oops. So think of another word there for me. Number 6, Sarah bought some very expensive shoes. Okay, so expensive, think of an opposite meaning. Then number 7, Paul just began his chores. So opposite of began. You can pause this if you haven't written down all your answers, but we're going to go through the answers. Now it may be different, but my mind was straight true and false. So I don't think there can be another one there. Eric wrote true for every question on the test. Then I try to hint and say to you to just drop this dis, and the opposite of disobey is to obey. So she obeyed her mother. We're going to keep it in the same tense. Number 3, Kevin was very careless. So he's reckless. So remember, I also hinted at changing the list to full. If you're careful, you're not reckless. You are going to make sure that something, doesn't get damaged or broken. Then I jump straight to mature. So if someone's childish, they're not mature. Joseph's room was filthy. I also thought of clean. There was another one that I thought of. Joseph's room was tidy, neat. So if you wrote tidy or neat, I'll also accept that. Then number 6, Sarah bought some very expensive shoes. I also thought of inexpensive and I thought of cheap. So those both popped into my head. And then lastly, Paul just began. So that just means he started his chores. The opposite of start is he finished. Paul just finished. You can't really end your chores, so you can't say ended. So we're looking for finished. Well done, grade 8s. I hope you got most of these right. Remember, there can be a different, you could have thought of something different. Just make sure you look up the word and see if it does mesh well or it actually goes with the sentence. For example, began and end can work. That is an opposite. But if I put ended in the sentence, it doesn't make sense. It's not the correct antonym. That's why it's finished. Completed. Paul just completed his chores. Look at me thinking of another example. So there could be, maybe if you thought about that one. Then you have to please think of a synonym for courageous, and I want you to think of an antonym. So now we don't have a sentence. So all you got to do is write a word down for a synonym, same meaning, and an antonym, opposite in meaning. Pause the screen, And we're going to go through the answers now. So courageous, brave. I would go for that. Then if you're not brave or if you're not courageous, you're cowardly. Okay. Sorrowful, sad, or you could be happy or cheerful. So we're going to try keep the same. So sorrowful, cheerful. Agree, consent. So you're giving someone the yes, I agree, I consent. Accept, maybe. Then you disagree. Now you can have different answers. Devious. Ooh, if someone is devious, they are deceitful. Maybe they're manipulative. So if you struggles, you can always use a thesaurus. It's not a dictionary. It's similar. You can look up words. But a thesaurus actually gives you synonyms and antonyms. Also, if you Google the word devious, it'll give you a definition, or you have to actually ask definition. But then if you Google devious synonyms and antonyms, it gives you a really nice picture of all the different synonyms and antonyms. So that's always nice to use. Then we've got honest, truthful, something like that. Then if you repair something, you fix it or you mend it. And then if you, the opposite of repair, you damage it or you break it. Decrease, so it's lessen. And increase, it's the opposite. Then save, you could rescue. Now save could have lots of different ones because we don't know how it's being used in a sentence. Because I could save money, can't rescue money. Okay, so then the opposite of save, like as in rescue, could be abandon, could be spend. You spend all your money. Okay, so I hope that you could answer all of these and come up with an example or a word. Remember, some of these are quite challenging, and in your test or exam, always stick to what the context of the sentence is and the part of speech. Not the part of speech, I'm thinking about our parts of speech. The tense, agree or agreed, stick with the same tense. Sorry. Then here are just some more examples. So if you want to just pause it and go through it, you're most welcome to, but it gives you a word and a synonym. And what I want you to remember is whenever they ask for a synonym or antonym, it has to be one word. Okay, so I see here they've got grown person. Maybe I would just say grown up and hyphenate it, and that's one word. Because in a test or exam, you must only give one word. You can't explain it. You must think of the word and then you write it down. Because they're not asking you for a definition, they're asking you for a synonym or an antonym. Okay. Before you go, I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed this lesson and that you learned something about synonyms and antonyms. We're going to just recap quickly. What is a synonym? It's a similar meaning word, or it's the same, has the same definition or explanation. And what is an antonym? Very easy. It's opposite in meaning. So if you can remember that, that'll be awesome, especially in your test or exam. You've guaranteed 1 mark. And after this, you can always do an activity just to practice and perfect your knowledge of synonyms and antonyms. Then again, grade 8s, if you have a question, please pop us an email at grade8@worksheetcloud.com. And then I always do a little bit of a pick-me-up, some motivation, in case you're feeling a little bit down in the dumps or not motivated to get up and go. So here we've got something, and this is quite apt for my life. Never stop doing your best just because someone doesn't give you credit. And a lot of the time we want praise, we want credit, we want people to say, wow, that's awesome. I have it so many times. My learners will say, ma'am, I did my homework. Aren't you proud? And then I think to myself, but that was a requirement. You just had to do it. But sometimes we just want affirmation. We want to be told, well done. So I hope that you have a lovely day further. Thanks for watching Grade 8. This lesson was brought to you by WorksheetCloud. I'm Mrs. Goslet. We're in my lounge today. Hopefully we'll be in a different place to keep it interesting. Goodbye.